So say what you want about the prequels, but they gave us this Jedi fighting like we had never seen before and could only imagine. This fight was absolutely incredible, and it was everything we wanted.
Force Unleashed, playing as Vader, and you just slaughter an entire village of Wookiees. And one thing I appreciate about, the games, the books, and now we have the series, you see these aspects of the Force that you could only dream about. And having, I guess we'd call the expanded universe, gives us the ability to now see it, or you can control it in a video game. So that was pretty cool for me.
I was beginning to believe I knew who you were behind that mask.
After all these years watching Ahsoka and Anakin finally meet face to face and then have to fight it out as Ahsoka gave up all hope on her former master, it was absolutely heart-wrenching, but it was really satisfying in a way.
I am no Jedi.
When Han gets dipped into that carbonite, because I thought you've taken probably the coolest character in this thing off the board. And for me, because at the time I was probably 10 when I first saw The Empire Strikes Back, and I didn't watch the movies in order. I actually watched them out of order. I saw The Empire Strikes Back, then A New Hope, then Return of the Jedi. But my dad would watch The Fugitive all the time and Air Force One. So I thought Harrison Ford was like the coolest dude in the world. So to see his character get dipped in ice with that carbonite, I was like, what? How did you just get rid of Harrison Ford?
This is the Vader that we had imagined, that we had read about, that we had seen maybe a glimpse of in the Clone Wars, but to see this absolute terror in live action was incredible, and it was really a fulfillment of wishes.
Rogue Squadron for N64, and that thing was just awesome because you got to, I think you had the X-Wing, you had the A-Wing, you had the Y-Bomber, and the chatter that you would hear during the game between the pilots was awesome. At the time, I was like, oh, these are top tier, these are the best graphics in the world. Going back and looking at it, it's just like, wow, this as a kid, I thought this was it. This is as good as it's going to get. To be the one flying that, and I love that game to death.
One never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough.
So it's 1980. We see this movie. The rebellion is on the run. Han is captured by Jabba, and this bomb drops on us, and we don't even know if Vader is telling the truth to Luke or not. And you walked out of the theater, and you were stunned.
Not true. That's impossible.
When Yoda lifts the X-Wing, because that's not what you expected. He's this short, little, ugly Muppet, and you've seen some elements of the Force in the series, but to see how someone can wield it that way, to be so small, and just get that X-Wing out of that swamp in Dagobah, that was definitely, I think that was the moment I knew I was hooked on this thing. I want to know as much as possible.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
Stick together and we'll be fine.
Look, there are X-Wing people, there are Y-Wing people. My ship was always the Falcon, and to get to fly her this way, like a fighter, over Hoth, over Sullust, shooting down TIE fighters, shields, torpedoes. It was just everything I could ever want from a video game, and I love this game to death. I played this thing for hours.
That's one for our side.
So we get the prequels, and at the time I loved them. And even now I look back, they're not as bad as we thought they were. Revenge of the Sith was awesome. That fight was awesome. And I think that's the best thing to come out of the prequels is we got to see some legitimate lightsaber battles. And when Obi-Wan is standing and he's telling Anakin, I've got the high ground, and he's just like, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not destroy it. that hit me. Like, I'm probably like 13, 14 at the time. That hit me in the feels, because you finally get to see the fall of this guy, of this killing machine, and like what he became, and you see how it happened. So that is definitely that's one of my top Star Wars moments.
I loved you.
Have you not?
This is it. This is the OG. We came out of that theater in 1977. That trench run was like nothing anybody had ever seen before, and it changed not only filmmaking, but it changed going to the movies. What we expected in terms of spectacle, in terms of effects, in terms of excitement was completely a new game after Luke blew up that Death Star.
So the year the N64 came out, the first game I got with it was, I think Mario came with the system, but the game I was able to like pick was Shadows of the Empire. And if you're not familiar with it, it follows the story of Randell, who sort of was going to be like a new Han Solo. And he had this ship called the Outrider, and it looked cool. It had that exact same color as the Millennium Falcon, but this looks like a much cooler version. So the first time that you get to pilot that in Shadows of the Empire, that is my number one Star Wars moment.